Welcome to your very brief lecture on revising versus editing and how to do the peer editing on Canvas. In week 2, I've thrown up a video here. As you can see, it says peer review on Canvas that will walk you through it step by step, how to go do it, how to use the comment editor or like software. I don't know what else you want to call it. Um, and how to leave your peer review on Canvas. The one thing that I do want to add to that is you'll need to download this peer analysis peer review handout. Um, you'll need to fill that out and then you'll add it as a file you've left attached to the comments. So, like on the right hand side of an assignment, you'll see a comment section where you can leave a comment. So, I want you to just leave like an overall comment if you want, or you can just say, here's your assignment or here's your worksheet, and leave it attached as a file attachment to that. But you will be filling out this peer review handout that talks about certain thing that just gives you a direction to go in while doing the peer review. It talks about like, does the writer include the author's name? Is a paragraph, does the essay have a clear thesis statement that outlines a focus, that sort of a thing? Yes, no, how can they improve it? You'll be filling this out and putting it in, and then you'll also be leaving in-text comments. And how you'll do that, and I can't really show you that here because they don't allow me to assign my student peer review, which sucks. But you'll have a bunch of tools like a highlighter, like a tab button, and you'll be able to highlight, leave comments. And what you want to do is just leave higher order concerned comments versus, and then just work your way down if you have time to like smaller concerns like punctuation, editing, and stuff. And I'm going to just go straight to chapter 12, which I've added to this week's readings, and I'll announce that because I forgot. That talks about editing. Um, what is editing versus revising, the differences. We'll go to that right now, but you're gonna want to read that too. It makes editing all that much easier. So what we're doing is you're doing revising, not editing. Editing like treats the paper as an almost finished product. It addresses obvious areas and deficiencies. Like, you're not looking at the ideas contained within, you're like trying to polish it up with sentence structure, grammar, punctuation, those sort of a things. You consider grammar, punctuation, spelling, style. It polishes up the essay, whereas writing treats it as a work in progress. You are focusing on new possibilities both with and beyond the text. What you'll want to be doing there is you'll be wanting to look at. I'm going to stop there. You'll want to look at the ideas that the people have in their paper and critique them, tell them how they can improve, what else they might be missing, those sort of things. You focus on new questions or goal, consider both purpose and the reader's needs, and encourage further discovery. So, like with this rhetorical analysis, like you'll be looking at the ideas contained within, making sure that that introductory paragraph gives an overview of what their article is about, what the writer of the original article, what they're arguing, what they're saying in that article, and then whether or not that argument is effective or ineffective, and giving you a preview of how they're going to tell you how it is effective or ineffective depending on how they go. Again, so like with ours, higher order concerns you'd be concerned with are making sure that the topic sentences and the paragraph blend well, or that the topic sentence and the paragraph are one and the same. So a topic sentence says we're going to look at logos here. The whole paragraph is about examples of logos within the essay, not wandering from logos, pathos, and ethos. Those sort of things, making sure that each paragraph is on the subject it introduces, making sure that the paragraphs follow like the outline of your introduction. If you say that like because of their effective use of ethos, pathos, and logos, then you're going to want to, in the essay, blah, 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 the author does well, you'll want to make sure that you then have the paragraphs that follow are actually in that order of, you talk about ethos, then pathos, then logos, or if you're doing it weakest to strongest, that you start out with the weakest points building to the strongest, or vice versa, that sort of a thing. You're going to want to make sure that the essay is logically structured. So again, if they say that they're going weakest to strongest, they have it in that context of talking about them weakest to strongest and not just ethos, pathos, and logos. You can incorporate those terms, but talk about which one is the weakest to the strongest. But yeah. Or if they are talking about like ethos, pathos, and logos, you'll want to make sure that the paragraphs are each discussing that and have enough examples. So if they're only doing one example of all three, one example of each in each paragraph, and that's all they're giving is 3 examples, that would be something you would want to talk about, is go, you're not quite showing enough examples within the text to back up your assessment. So that would be a thing if they're not using enough textual evidence, or if they're using no textual evidence, you'll want to make sure that's in there. You'll want to look at making sure that they're corresponding to the MLA guidelines in terms of like citing the pages when they do in-text citations. Those sort of things are something you would want to bring up because that's a higher order concern. I know it's a weird higher order concern, but it is a concern, letting somebody know where to find things so that they can look at the essay easily. Yeah, so hopefully that gives you guys an idea. We got one more thing. Oh yeah, I'll go to the triangle next. There's an inverted triangle on the second page. I'm not sure which actual page it is in the ebook. It is page, let's wait. Comcast in the 21st century, ladies and gentlemen. Page 345 and 346, there is an inverted triangle. The top of the inverted pyramid corresponds to the early stages of writing. You should be identifying the situation they are responding to, the issue the writer has defined. So this would be the first issue, so the situation. So you would be talking about if they're saying that X author's work is persuasive or not persuasive, those sort of things would be here: the situation, issue, thesis, and audience. You'd want to be identifying the article you're writing about, the issue that they're writing about, your thesis statement about whether or not they do it effectively and argue effectively, and then the audience is me, so it's an academic audience. The middle one is something else, like I just talked about, like the organization of it and the uses of its sources. Is the essay itself logically organized? Has the writer integrated quotations smoothly into the paper? Is the evidence relevant, recent? And those sort of things. So, like, again, another one this brings up, and it's a great example, is if you're talking about something and you say, this is a great example of pathos, give a quote, and then you don't, it doesn't actually, like, you're like, this is a great example of pathos, and then it's statistics. That might be a case of being like, hey, you talk about pathos and then you do a statistics, that would be logos. You should either fix the intro to say that or fix the quote to meet the rest of the paragraph, that sort of a thing. All of that is on the table. What you're looking at is just how well they've put together the essay and whether or not the argument they've put forth makes sense. And if all of that's really great and you can't find anything, then move on to smaller concerns like the punctuation, grammar, style. Those sort of things are the smaller order concerns that you can look at last. Yeah, so hopefully this has given you a good idea of how to edit. And again, I say edit, but we're really revising, how to revise these papers and how to help your classmates work on becoming stronger in their writing, and yourself as an editor becoming more confident in being able to identify where things aren't quite right and like try to help others. And like, yeah, hopefully that being able to spot those areas in others' papers will eventually translate to your own. If you have any questions and this wasn't clear, feel free to stop by tomorrow's office hours and ask more questions. We can talk more in depth about this. Thanks and have a good one.